Welcome, fellow lovers of the weird and strange. This is Lance, your host of Legends of the Hidden Horde, where we explore the folklore behind the mythical creatures that stalk the dark corners of our globe. A huge thank you to all of you for tuning in. Your ears make these strange journeys possible. If you enjoy the show, please hit that subscribe button, leave me a quick review, and give me a follow on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, or X. Your support truly makes a difference. Now, let's dive into the next story. Pack your Vegemite sandwich and follow me into the land down under in episode 17, Yara-ma-yha-who. In the ancient coastal woodlands of southeastern Australia, where the Murray River coils like a dreaming serpent through the country of the Ngarrindjeri people, the old ones still speak softly of the Yara-ma-yha-who. Not as mere fable for outsiders, but as living knowledge passed through firelight and kinship lines since the dreaming, when ancestor spirits shaped the land and its unseen guardians. David Unaipon, the Ngarrindjeri writer and inventor who gathered these tales in the 1920s, recorded how the little red spirit men dwell in the boughs of wild fig trees, waiting with patience older than memory. This is not invention, but a respectful weaving of those traditions in a shadowed tale, one that honors the oral histories of the southeastern Aboriginal communities, while acknowledging their place-based variations in sacred custodianship. Maggie had come home to the country after years in the city, drawn by a restlessness she could not name. Her grandmother, the Ngarrindjeri elder, had warned her before the journey, "Do not rest beneath the fig when the sun is high, and never whistle at night in the bush. The sounds call what should remain unseen." Maggie smiled at the time, attributing it to the old fears that kept children close. But the heat of the late summer afternoon pressed down like a living weight as she hiked the overgrown track near the river bends. The air hummed with cicadas, then fell unnaturally still. Thirst clawed at her throat. Ahead, a massive wild fig tree spread its canopy like a green cathedral. Its roots twisted into the red earth, heavy with fruit that smelled of sweet decay. She sat back against the trunk and closed her eyes. A faint rustle overhead. Perhaps a breeze, perhaps not. Then came the soft plop of something dropping. Not heavy, not loud, just close. She opened her eyes to see it. A small figure, no taller than a child of 10, perched on a low branch. Its skin was vivid, unnatural red, like fresh blood under lantern light. A disproportionately large head sat atop spindly limbs and a paunchy belly. No teeth in the wide, slack mouth, but the hands and feet, those were wrong. Octopus-like suckers pulsed faintly at the tips of its fingers and toes. Its eyes, dark and unblinking, held the patient hunger of something that had waited since the first fig ripened on this earth. Maggie's breath caught. In some tellings, the Yara-ma-yha-who was merely a trickster of the southeastern forests. In others, whispered among distant kin, it wore a coat of shaggy red hair like its western counterparts, or appeared only as a fleeting spirit tested by heat and isolation. In some of the older stories, the elders might say visions born of exhaustion, or manifestations that blurred the line between flesh and dreaming. But this one felt solid, real. It dropped silently to the ground before she could rise. The suckers latched first, cold, wet, insistent into her arms, her neck, her legs. Not painful, but draining. A numbness spread as blood flowed not in spurts, but in steady rhythmic pools, as if the creature were drinking the very life that bound her to country. She tried to scream, but her voice was a whisper. The world tilted. In the old story, some said victims could play dead until sunset, when the spirit retreated into its bow. Maggie went limp, heart hammering. The Yara-ma-yha-who paused, as if listening to the land itself. Then it opened its mouth, impossibly wide, elastic, and swallowed her whole. Darkness, the wet, rhythmic squeezing of a living throat, the faint taste of fig and river mud. Time lost meaning. She felt herself curled inside a warm, pulsing sack, the creature drinking water from some hidden spring, napping in the dapple shade as the sun dipped lower. Then the regurgitation began. She spilled out onto the roots, gasping, smaller than before, her limbs shrunken, her skin flushed with an unnatural reddish hue. The creature regarded her with something almost like kinship. In the full lore, repeated encounters completed the change. The victim grew smaller, redder, toothless, until they climbed the fig themselves, waiting for the next wanderer. In one story, bound to the spirit world, transformation was not punishment, but a slow becoming, a warning that isolation from kin and country erodes the human shape. Maggie staggered to her feet. The Yara-ma-yha-who had already vanished back into the branches, leaving only the faint sucking sound fading into the twilight. She did not whistle. She did not rest again. As she stumbled towards the river path, the bush whispered differently now, leaves rustling in patterns that might have been her own footsteps, climbing higher into the canopy. The Yara-ma-yha-who is more than a monster of the fig. It is a profound embodiment of porosity, the fragile boundary between self and other, human and spirit, respect and consequence. Rooted in southeastern Aboriginal dreaming, it teaches that disconnection from country, community, and ancestral knowledge invites a quiet erosion of identity. We are swallowed by our own neglect, regurgitated, diminished, until we become the very forces we ignored. Its lessons urge vigilance, not fear of the bush, but deep reciprocity with it, staying with kin, heeding the practical wisdom encoded in lore, avoiding hazardous shelter, honoring the rhythms of day and night. In a world full of chaos, the entity carries an urgent future message. If humanity continues to wander alone through our progress, ignoring indigenous custodianship of lands and stories, we risk a collective transformation into something unrecognizable, smaller, redder, alienated from the living systems that sustain us. Yet the cycle offers regeneration. By listening, preserving, and returning to those knowledges, we may yet step back from the final swallow, restoring balance before the fig claims us all. Thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the story, hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Give me a follow on social media. And until next time, keep your eyes open. You never know what might be lurking in the shadows.